We try and get into the head of our consumers, and we want to understand, where are they doing discovery? Who are those influencers that are best to promote this product based on who we believe the customer for this product is?
Hello, everyone. This is the Commerce Experience Podcast. As a show, we provide professionals with insights and tools to thrive in this ever-evolving space of e-commerce. I'm your host, Elena, Senior Community and Social Media Manager at Bloomreach. Today, I'm super excited to welcome Cherene Aubert, VP of Digital and E-commerce at ILIA. Cherene is a seasoned expert in D2C digital strategy and e-commerce, and under her leadership, ILIA has landed at the forefront of the clean beauty industry. In this episode, Cherene will share her valuable insights on the strategic elements that help ensure a product not only launches successfully, but also continues to thrive amidst fierce competition. So, Cherene, thank you so much for being here. It's so great to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to jump in.
Yes, we're finally here in the studio. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say. We had a great prep call, so I'm looking forward to getting into it with you. So, to kick us off, I really want to talk about your experience, because from what I know about you, you have been instrumental in scaling teams and strategies at ILIA. Can you talk a little bit about how those experiences have really shaped your mindset around taking new products to market, especially in the beauty industry?
Yes, I feel very fortunate to have spent a lot of my career agency side, where I got to see probably hundreds of businesses at this point at different sizes of scales and categories. And I learned so much of every facet of digital, being at, a few different agencies. And then most recently, I was at a startup called Bobby. They crossed 9 figures in just 2 years, disrupting an industry. And I think I kind of went from this like very performance, kind of like operating teams at scale, to, doing something that's never been done before in an industry, and shaking things up. And I think that those two things combined kind of gave me the perfect storm of experience on how to think about, like, okay, now I'm in beauty. Beauty is incredibly competitive. There's so much noise. It's a big market, but there's so many players. How do you kind of cut through that noise? And I think just having seen so many businesses and having been in an industry disrupting business has really armed me to be able to come in and shake things up in beauty too.
I love the shake things up, because I feel like we need people like that to kind of like question the status quo, challenge the norm. So I love that that's your mindset, because I feel like that probably makes you so successful and very dynamic, which is exactly why I wanted to talk to you today. Well, I know ILIA, and just in my research, I've seen you guys everywhere. You guys have had tons of success with product launches. And I know one product even amassed a 55,000 wait list. So that's amazing. And a lot of people don't get a chance to see that in this industry. And it's so competitive, like you mentioned. And I know that it's kind of market focused on driving newness and building anticipation for these new launches. So can you speak a little bit to that success specifically, and really any key components that helped with your launch strategy that helped you get to those amazing results?
The 55,000 person wait list was for our recent launch, the Skin Rewind Complexion Stick, which just came out in March. And I think with any product launch, in order for it to be successful, it starts with the product. The product has to actually be incredible, and you and your team have to truly believe in it, especially in the beauty industry. And I think for every industry, so much of marketing is being told through the voices and mouths and stories of others. So yes, your brand is going to tell your brand story, but influencers, creators, customers, people who've seen and felt the product are really going to be the ones that continue to do the selling for the product. So step number one is you have to have amazing products. And I think that's what's differentiated ILIA and made it such a successful business, is an amazing visionary founder, started when clean beauty was in its infancy, built a clean beauty brand, and there was amazing product market fit. And so that was like this lightning in a bottle moment. And that was the foundation of the company, of just like kind of being an innovator in the space. And that's what we continue to do. And so when we had this product, it's amazing. It's a complexion stick. It has like, anti-aging properties and benefits, and it's like skincare and makeup in a stick. And I think what like really helps teams accelerate a product launch is like really believing in it, but then creating a 360 strategy. So that was a big part of this, is we created a 360 strategy. We got into the heads of the consumers and we tried to understand what would be the biggest driver of conversion and easy purchase for this product. And this is this product has an incredible shade range. There are 42 shades. This is our most our broadest shade range of any of our complexion products. So we knew that we had to get people shade matched before they could convert as a part of the product launch. And we also knew that we wanted to tease the launch a lot longer than we had teased our other launches. So we were like, we're going to do a longer tease. We're going to get people as many as we can shade matched. And we set a goal for ourselves. We're like, we want to build a wait list of at least 5 to 10K people. This is the goal we set. We absolutely demolished it, but it was because we totally crushed it. We integrated that shade matching experience with a high value incentive and giveaway, and we drove a lot of attention to it before the product launched. And that's what really drove that big number that we're talking about.
Well, generating that kind of demand before a product even hits the shelves is pretty impressive. But you also, I love that you spoke about the experience too, and you probably sprinkled in a little bit of messaging around inclusivity, around like having that broad shade range, something you guys haven't done as extensively before, but then also giving people that experience of like, come get matched first, see how amazing the product is. And I love that you didn't skip over the fact that you do have to have amazing products for people to rave about you. So the fact that your founder kind of like knew where the gap in the market was, and she was like, we're going to tackle this and we're going to absolutely crush that goal is really impressive. I'm shocked. When you told me that number, I was like, wow, that's incredible.
In the beauty industries, there's so much competition and it's really tough, especially when people are used to purchasing in person or trying products in person. And we are an omnichannel brand. We sell direct to consumer. We're in Sephora. We're at Amazon. We're at, Nordstrom.com. We're at all these different retailers. But at the end of the day, we are one brand and we are talking to our customers and they can shop wherever they want to. And so it was important for us with this launch as well to have like a 360 approach. So a lot of the promotion that was happening was digital, but we also had like physical. We had a pop-up where people can come in and shop and like try the product. And it was only a couple of days. We had amazing partnerships with influencers and, we had activated our team that was in retail stores. We had cool like in-store activation. So we really kind of thought of the full like 360 brand experience and how to kind of try and take up as much share of voice at that time as we could.
You really have to these days. When a new product hits the market, it's like, we're going to make this a big splash, especially if you're investing a lot of time and energy into it. You want to make sure it lands and in all the right places where people are shopping and meeting people where they are. And I love that you said the in-store activations too, because people are looking for that experience. We talk about that a lot on the show. I'm curious, and we're going to get into omnichannel in a second because I think that 360 strategy is so important. But once you've gotten that initial hype with a product like this, how did you guys keep the momentum going, making sure that the product still stayed in the spotlight even beyond that initial launch period?
This is such a big question that I think every brand has, especially brands that are launching new products and have a really great innovation pipeline is, you only have so many hours in the day. You only have so many resources. How do you support a new product and sustain a new product and drive your core products? And so while we did want to have a big splash with the product launch, sustaining the product, we're now in the sustain mode of the product. We had, one of the biggest digital placements in Times Square. We also created some digital video assets that we're running in YouTube and we're running them CTV. So over the last few weeks, we have a CTV flight that's supporting the product. And then we're continuing to just drive our always on digital advertising and, retention marketing to feature and educate about the product.
That's amazing. It's almost like what I think about when you just said that. Times Square is a big deal, but it's like go big or go home. So I love, and I want to go back to the omnichannel because the 360 strategy is something I think about as a marketer on a regular basis. But I read somewhere that companies that employ the omnichannel strategy with the email and the SMS and the in-app notifications and in-store activations see nearly a 500% higher order rate than those that don't. And developing that whole strategy across channels is not easy. And it's not one size fits all either. So any tips that you've learned or anything that you want to share with the folks who are thinking about doing this too?
I think a lot of businesses tend to look at each sales channel as like a siloed sales channel. So they're looking at just direct to consumer, and they think the digital ads that they're putting out is just driving their direct to consumer business and doesn't have an impact on, let's say, their Amazon business or their retail business. And I think more and more it's becoming clear that consumers do a lot of their discovery online, and then they just choose whatever sales channel that they want to purchase on. So, and we know that it takes multiple touch points for a consumer to actually make a purchasing decision. It kind of matters where those touch points are, but it more so matters, are you showing up where your consumers are? And are you arming them with the decision, the ability to make the decision in favor of your brand compared to another brand? And then let them pick whatever channel that they want to purchase on. If they want to go to Amazon to get, Prime shipping, that's fine. If they want to go to your D2C site to get some kind of incentive, or another retailer to get another kind of incentive, that's fine. You just have to be there, or your competitors will. I think that brands have to evolve how they're thinking about the maybe like media dollars and marketing effort that they're outlaying, and how they're realizing that revenue. It's not only coming from one channel, it's coming from all their sales channels.
Well, and that's the hard part, because I think attribution is getting harder to measure. And I think we all have individual KPIs where you're like, I really want to exceed X, Y, Z goal throughout the quarter, but measuring success is something that's not easy. And we'll probably get into that here in a little bit, but I know it's something that you kind of have to be mindful of. And I even too, like, think about myself as a consumer. I saw in a Harvard Business Review that 73% of all customers use multiple channels during their purchase journey. Ultimately, it's very hard to attribute one specific successful channel and say that that was the reason for the entire product launch success. So they all kind of have to work together, is what I'm hearing from you to kind of make that big splash across the board, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, and I want to talk to you about AI, because I know that that's like the marketer's secret weapon at this point, but mastering omnichannel strategy specifically. And I know that right now what we're seeing is practitioners are able to connect the dots between those different channels. And when it comes to commerce specifically, we're seeing how AI can kind of help businesses optimize maybe inventory management and predicting demand trends and helping you plan and making sure that your customers are finding exactly what they need, both online and in store, which is amazing. Are you guys thinking about that as well? Are you utilizing AI for that or any of those reasons?
Yeah, there's so many great e-commerce apps or pieces of technology that incorporate AI and make processes better for e-commerce operators. I think what's challenging, there's kind of this, like, there's two buckets. There's the AI that kind of allows you to operate better and more efficiently, which is kind of all of it. But then there's also this AI that is getting a lot of chatter right now that can actually help you produce content and imagery and visuals. And it's actually really hard for a business that is so brand forward to kind of strike the balance, especially in like the content production side, like the copywriting and the visual production or video production or like creative production. Because brand is so important to us, we have to find unique ways to incorporate AI that don't dilute the brand. Because so much of what, I saw this quote the other day, someone probably tweeted it, but they were like, I'm so fascinated by AI because it just gives me so much appreciation for the human brain. And it's so true. Like the human brain is so incredible when you stack it up against AI. Like AI is this amazing tool, but at the end of the day, like what can the human mind do? And like we're still kind of in this world where a lot of our ideas come from people and they're such great ideas and consumers love them. So it's like it's a hard balance to strike.
You still need that human element. And we talk about that all the time. That's not going anywhere. The human creativity is like, utilize AI to kind of like bring my half-baked ideas to life. But like, I always feel better knowing that that was like an idea that I had specifically from my brain. There's something about it that just gives it like makes me want to give a little pat on the back. But I agree. Like it's a tool that you can use. You don't want to dilute the brand and you want to keep it as strong and as solid as possible. But like, I think that that's what makes brands amazing is that human element behind it, the people behind the brand. And I was even doing some research prior to this call, but like I saw a really great quote from your founder and it seems like she's just super innovative. And I feel like when you start a brand, you start a company, you go out there and you just like the first thing she said was like, you just kind of have to start. And I think a lot of times, you know, the human behind the brand is what makes it so successful. And when you lose that, it's like, are people resonating with it as much?
Totally. I think that is so well said on Sasha's behalf, because sometimes when you have too much information, you can get into this like analysis paralysis. And sometimes you think that just because there is no data or information, you shouldn't do it. That was one of the biggest things I learned at, in my last role at Bobby is we were doing something that had never been done. We were the first European style infant formula in the US, the first like mom founded and led brand. And there was no benchmark to compare against and so much. And I was the data leader at that company. So I kind of had to figure out how do we make sense from a data and insight standpoint of what we're doing here. We're disrupting a market and there's like nothing we can compare it to really. And a lot of the things that we were doing, we had no baseline for. We're kind of starting from scratch. And I think that was one of the biggest learnings and paradigm shifts that I've had in my career, going from like a very performance focused analytical mindset to let's just try this thing and who knows how it's going to turn out. And I think sometimes that, not having the information and taking the leap actually has better results because you don't know what you're getting into. You're kind of like, yeah, there's going to be some downsides to it and you're going to have to like confront those when they happen, but also you might not have taken that leap otherwise.
I recently talked to a data expert on this podcast and it was like, when you don't have the data and you make those decisions, it's like you're going off of feeling, you're going off of expertise from the humans behind the brand. But when you have the data, maybe you can make better informed decisions, but that doesn't mean that they're always the right decisions. You just have more knowledge. So speaking of data, and that like kind of great transition here, because I know that we were talking about measuring success prior. And I know that that's been complex, especially when it comes to e-commerce. There's so many changes that are being made and data privacy is a real thing. Is that affecting your strategy in regards to tracking the effectiveness of a new product launch and any like data privacy measures, any examples where like that data has either helped you or proposed challenges in your launch strategies?
It's like the last decade of e-commerce and digital marketing was kind of an anomaly, in my opinion. We had all this amazing data. There was this, digital ads arbitrage where you could just make a ton of money from just putting whatever content out there. It doesn't matter if it was good or not. And it worked. And it worked for a long time until it didn't, until we had this significant, data loss that we saw with the iOS 14 and all of these data privacy changes that are not going to be going away. And in a sense, it's taking us back to what advertising and what marketing used to be, which was you actually had to understand your market. You had to understand your consumer. You had to survey people and figure out what they liked and create advertisements and products based on what people liked. And then you had to put it out there, based on what you knew about the market, and then you just measured if sales went up or not. And it like sounds very simplistic, but we're kind of like coming full circle. We are going down the incrementality testing route because we want to be able to measure and test scientifically if what we're doing is driving an increase in sales. But we're also doing some of this more traditional like brand measurement. Like we're doing audience insights surveys, and we're doing brand awareness surveys that are ongoing to be able to measure where we're at in terms of like in relation to competitors in the market. I think at the end of the day, is your revenue growing and is your profit growing? And that might be the best indicator of what you're doing, if it's working or not.
Exactly. That bottom line is what people see. But as marketers, we want to look at all the channels and we want to see how we're contributing to all of that success, just to call out those wins too. But that kind of leads me to my next point, is like having all of this data and maybe getting overwhelmed by, all of those like small measurements. I think personalized experiences are becoming top of mind for consumer facing brands. I think because the parasocial connection is really strong. And that means like tailored product recommendations from your favorite influencer, or customized marketing messages and like personalized customer service. But that's really hard when you're scaling. So I'm curious to hear if you guys are doing that in a special way, or maybe using any specific technologies to kind of deliver those personalized experiences at scale. And then how does that fit into your strategy?
Yeah, we have an amazing customer experience team, and we have ILIA specialists that actually will shade match you with if you submit a selfie. So you can submit a selfie on site. You can text a selfie. That we have a hotline. It's 443 match me, and so you can send a selfie, and they'll tell you like what shade in our products you're in, or what products would complement your complexion. And that's like one of our differentiators. And then we also have our Find My Shade quiz on site, which is collecting data from customers to help us drive more personalization in their email and SMS, in our communications with our customers. And brands that have more personalization drive higher conversion because consumers have come to expect personalization from brands, especially given how much data they're opting in to share. They're raising their hand and saying, yes, you can email me. Yes, you can text me. Yes, you can have this information from me because I want you to like give me something that is just for me. And that's one of the amazing things that we have as D2C brands, is the ability to like have that one-to-one relationship with consumers. But we also do things that are not super scalable. And that's like one of the things that I always stand behind is, there's always something you can do that is hard. It can't be done at scale, and it can only be done for a few people. But when you do it for those few people, they will become forever advocates and referrers of your brand. And so we've started to incorporate that into our launch strategy as well, reaching out to customers and offering them to try the new product, complimentary, and just like trying to figure out how we can elevate our service for our customers.
The best is when people are advocating for your brand without you even asking. And so the more you can build that loyalty and get them to keep coming back because they love you guys so much. I mean, as someone who manages our community and our ambassadors who go so hard for the brand, they've already been doing that, but it's like we wanted to formalize a rewards program for them as well, because it's like you guys are doing such amazing work because you genuinely like what we're putting out. And that's where you go back to what the product is. And it's got to be pretty solid for people to be talking about you in that way. But like when you build a community of people who really love your brand, like they're the best evangelists you can have. Like no one wants to hear a brand talking about how amazing they are. They want to hear their friend talking about this product that they just tried and how you have to get your hands on it, right?
It's so true.
I am such a sucker for like seeing a product, maybe even just a video of like how you used it and why it was so amazing and why I need it too. And almost like the ones that aren't even too salesy. They're just kind of like, here's what I liked about it. Like, take it or leave it, but like, this is the experience I had. And if it's your brand, that's even better to get in on that. So it's like when you see people doing that unprompted, now I feel like the influencer industry and the beauty industry is very flooded. So it's hard to get those genuine reaction videos without paying for them. But I think that's something that people are always looking for. And that's what people feel closest to. And that's how you can generate that loyalty and that brand affinity.
100%. We have a goal of just making a word of mouth one of our top acquisition sources in our post-purchase survey, because that means we're doing something so right that we don't even have to pay for new customers. They're bringing themselves in, they're bringing each other in.
How do you think about your launch strategies when it comes to experimenting with new channels? Maybe that is an influencer campaign or a new promotion or an offer or a partnership with those in-store activations. What are your thoughts around like the risk side and then also trying something new to see if it actually works?
We like to tier our launches. So we, first want to understand the business impact. Is this, how much do we believe that this launch is going to drive for the business as a whole? And then we plan and resource according to, the revenue impact of that launch. So that's one piece. And then I think the other piece is we try and get into the head of our consumers, and we want to understand, where are they doing discovery? Who are those influencers that are best to promote this product based on who we believe the customer for this product is? And when it comes to new products, we don't do any kind of promotions or offers, because we really want to get a sense for the demand that product is driving in the market, the natural demand that it's driving. And that's something that we reserve for months after something launches as a part of the future sustain strategy. It just goes back to, how do you cut through the noise? How do you do something that your competitors aren't doing? And how do you speak to your customers in a way that resonates with them so that they're interested in what you have to say?
It's been fun to chat about this with you. And I obviously love seeing all the success you guys have had. And I'm so grateful that you were able to share all of that with us. So thank you so much for coming on to talk with us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to the Commerce Experience podcast. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to rate us 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening on. We so appreciate you and couldn't make this content happen without your support. And if you're also looking for more insights on e-commerce and AI, sign up for our Edge newsletter. You'll get perspectives from everything happening across the industry, similar to this interview. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. We talk about how cost product search technology can be more effective than ever, why you should use AI, all of the things. So don't miss out. Click the link in our bio of this episode to sign up, or scan the QR code on the screen at the end of this video. But we'll see you next time. Bye.